Many of the trig equations that you've seen so far, just in the directions it asks you to solve in one trip around the unit circle. And then towards the end of the assignment, it asks for what's called the general form for all the solutions based upon the smaller angle. Now, sine and cosine are periodic functions. They just keep repeating themselves over and over and over. There's actually an infinite amount of solutions. The directions that say this, you're just giving the number of solutions in one trip around the unit circle. But the general form is an infinite amount, okay? So here sine is a negative 1/2. So sine is associated with a y value. So I'm going to look for y is equal to negative 1/2. And it says it's based upon the smaller angle. So y is negative 1/2 here. Sine is negative 1/2 here. The smaller angle is 7 pi over 6. So I'm not going to consider this one at all. Now, when it talks about the general solution, here's one of them. First of them is 7 pi over 6. Okay? So the first one is 7 pi over 6. Now, 7 pi over, that's a 6. Now, if you notice, if you're at 7 pi over 6 here, and you go around 360 degrees, or 2 pi radians, you end up in the same place. Okay? If we go around another 360, excuse me, we just keep going around and around and around. So in other words, if you add 2 pi to this, you end up in the same place. So in that case, if you add multiples of 2 pi, this is just 360 degrees, okay? Any multiple of 2 pi is going to get you in the same place. So if k is equal to 0, if k is equal to 0, 2 pi times 0 is 0, and we end up with just 7 pi. Okay? Which is the initial solution. If k is equal to 1, if we plug in 1 in here, we're going to get 7 pi over 6 plus 2 pi times 1. Okay? Well, 7 pi over 6, 2 pi, as, let's see, that would be 12 pi over 6. I need to have a common denominator there. That gives me 19 pi over 6. So that would be the second solution. So this would be comma 19 pi over 6. And we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to take k is equal to 2 in the upper right-hand corner. If you look at that, we're going to plug in 2 in for k. All right, I'm kind of squeezing this in here. But if you plug in 2 in for k, you're going to get 4 pi. 4 pi is 2 trips around the unit circle. So we're going to take 7 pi, which is our initial solution. So here's 7 pi, and we're going to add a 2 pi and another 2 pi for a grand total of 4 pi. Notice when we add 4 pi to this, we end up in the same place. So we're going to add 4 pi to this. Okay. So 7 pi over 6. And if I want a denominator of 6, that would be 24 pi over 6. And these two add to get 31 pi over 6, which would be the third solution. So this, whenever you guys see the word general, it's you just have to add 2 pi to that to go around the unit circle. You're going to go around the trip around the unit. You're going to go around the unit circle again. The other equations where they just say to solve, here you're just only considering one trip around the unit circle. The general form is the generation, the solutions when you just keep adding 360 to that, 360 to that. You're just doing loop-de-loop around the unit circle. 2 pi k is a way to generate all the other solutions.